Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the latest Same Old Arsenal podcast. I've got to tell you something, lovely listeners in the chat and people that might be listening to this afterwards. It still makes me chuckle that even though we've been doing this podcast for a while and music has been on for a while, Amanda still bobs her head along as if she's hearing it for the first time. Amanda, how you doing?
Well, I'm better than I was this morning, let me tell you. I feel like we lost, Chris, the mood I woke up in. It was bizarre. It really was. But I'm better now after I had my rant.
Good. Got some rant on the national radio then, did you?
Yes, and for anyone that wants to listen, it is on our YouTube channel. Yes, I did. I had to get up very early at 6:20 a.m. I was asked a couple of days ago. Thought it was a bit of a risk this because I didn't think we'd going to win. And by the way, I just need to say that out of all the predictions, James got it right. And James isn't here tonight because he's too busy. The one time he gets his prediction right, Chris, he got 1-0 to the Arsenal. I said 2-2. We didn't know yours because you were away.
I said 1-0. I just didn't tell you.
Yeah. And I thought it was a bit of a risk because I didn't fancy it last night. I never fancy it against them at their place. I know we won last year, and yeah, so I was livid, and I know we're going to go into it all. That's fine.
We
But
are?
yes, 6:20 a.m. this morning on Radio 5 Live. And after I ranted, I didn't think I'd be invited back. However, apparently it went down really well.
Well, there you
But yeah.
go. National radio loves a ranter. They love a female gooner ranter in the morning to wake everybody up. Coffee doesn't do it, so just get a shouty Arsenal fan on there as well. We are going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about all things Arsenal. Before we do that, though, let's have a moment for a little bit of a virtual clap. Do it in the chat room as well, or if you're listening to this after the fact for the Lionesses, because they put up one heck of a 10-week period of the World Cup. They did a fantastic job. They made everybody proud. And do you know what? Women's football has come so far in the last 5-6 years. It's unbelievable. The coverage it gets is amazing. The standard of quality of football is amazing. I will admit and hold my hand up, I was somebody that was like, I'd watch out to see how Arsenal women were getting on. You know, are we doing well in the league? You know, occasionally you'd get like an FA Cup final on TV when we were on it, and I'd flick it on and watch it. But in reality, I didn't really watch it. And personally, I didn't think the standard of quality was that good. I cannot say that anymore because I watched some of the games on the TV in the background. You can see there. If anyone's listening from my work, I didn't obviously watch it during work time. But yeah, it was really good. I think they should be very proud. And yeah, some shouting out for some women's football. So congratulations to the Lionesses. That's not the end. That's only the beginning. And with the way that team performed, the young team, you've got to say the future's bright. So just any minute, or do you want to do a minute or two of thoughts on the Lionesses, Amanda, and then we'll get on to the Arsenal?
I just felt like they'd played well through the whole tournament. And I'm not big into women's football. I would never sit here and say that. Everyone knows that. However, I always follow the Lionesses and see what Arsenal women ladies are doing. And I just felt, and I don't know if anyone's going to agree, but I don't feel like they turned up on Sunday. And I felt they didn't press exactly like Spain did. Spain were excellent. Lovely that we saved the penalty. I see again, Carl and I argued over that. 100% for me, penalty, 100% not for him. And we're going to go on to VAR in a second. But yeah, listen, big up to him. I tweeted and said, if anyone would have told me in 1977 that there would be a World Cup final full of women playing football when I wasn't allowed to play football at school and all I was allowed to play was rush goalie. And for anyone that doesn't know what rush goalie means, it means you're a goalie and come out and play because I wasn't good enough to play in the whole team. I was the only girl that played football. I wasn't ever good at football. I'll never say that. But back in my sort of teenage years, I did, or early 20s, I did meet some of the Arsenal ladies at Highbury and we had a little kickabout. And let me tell you how hard they kicked that ball. I was shocked. I was only about 20 at the time. But so they've come on leaps and bounds. Very proud of them. Listen, they won the Euros last year. They got the final this year. Brilliant. Big up to them. Well done. You go again, ladies. You go again.
Yes, indeed. You did mention rush goalie. For anybody young enough doesn't know what rush goalie is, it's basically a modern day goalkeeper where you're spending your time on the edge of the box and you need to actually learn how to pass. So we've got a couple of rush goalies in our team. Obviously, David Raya just recently signed, and Aaron Ramsdale, who did very, very well tonight. Tonight's fun game for everyone to put into the chat. You have to think of and put it in the chat, and Amanda and I will star it. And when we get to it, we'll have a little laugh. Things that you would like to do as punishment for David Coote, is David Coote was the referee from last night? Was that his name? So things that you would like to do to punish David Coote. Make it creative, make it interesting. Don't be rude. Let's have a bit of fun with it. But yes, can we stick those in the chat? Amanda and I will star them, and then we'll have a little chuckle once we get to the refereeing bit, because no doubt what's going to happen, both of us are going to get quite frustrated and irate, and you guys are going to get frustrated and irate in the chat as well. So once we've done that, we'll all take a breath, and then we're going to have a bit of fun by thinking of punishments for David Coote. I'm going to just go early with mine. Fire him into the sun. Fire him directly into the sun. That's mine. I'm just saying it. But right, Amanda, game last night. Kick-off 8 o'clock away at Selhurst Park. There was a few thousand of the Arsenal fans that went along there. Obviously, you and I couldn't go along there, which meant that we had a perfect view of the game as opposed to those that were in the ground, because it's terrible viewing in Crystal Palace with those huge poles and stands that are just about 75 years old. We'll dial it all the way back to 7 p.m. last night, and the team comes out. Initial reactions, please.
I knew everyone was going to freak out because Havertz was in and Trossard wasn't. And I tell you, I've learnt my lesson having a tantrum many, many years ago. So I don't do it anymore. I trust the manager, and that was it. So for me, like you, Chris, working hard, getting home, trying to get everything sorted, rushing around like a lunatic. I tried to watch a little bit of Carragher and Neville. Didn't get to see much, thankfully. However, I look at teams now very differently, and I don't tantrum. There's reasons for things. I'm slightly quizzical about Gabriel, and I don't particularly like Partey at right back. And I would like to discuss this with you because Carl and I were arguing about it. So for me, Partey should be in midfield. Carl's argument is, well, he does go into midfield. Yeah, but then it leaves the right back open. Well, there's no difference to Zinchenko, but Zinchenko's a left back, not a midfielder. So we need Partey in midfield and Zinchenko inverting. So we're having all these discussions. And then the game kicks off, and I was absolutely plutzing. And for people that don't know what it is, you must have followed me long enough. Plutzing is Yiddish for stressing. So I started to plutz, and I'm thinking, here we go again. We've got a whole season. We've had a month off or 2 months of no stress. And here we go now. It's all starting, especially with this one. I wasn't like this against Forest at home, probably a little bit cocky. Forest at home, thought be okay. But this was a little bit stressful. And they always want us to play Crystal Palace under the lights in an evening game because I think they think there's going to be an upset. And I just felt, okay, I trust in Arteta, whatever he says. There's a reason, Chris.
Yeah. So on the Partey thing, I'll pick you up on this. So my view is that I don't mind the concept of it. So if you think about the way that we play in build-up with the ball, Zinchenko tends to drift into the central space, and he's almost sitting. Last season, he was sitting almost. If you imagine, and if you've listened to other podcasts, you'll hear this as well. But we've almost created like boxes. So you've got Zinchenko in the left-hand corner of the box. Partey in the right-hand corner of that middle box. You've got Odegaard in the top right-hand corner, and you've got Xhaka in the top left-hand corner. Now we've replaced Xhaka with Havertz now, obviously. Yeah. And I just wonder if the plan is to make us, when Arteta talked in the summer about let's be a little less unpredictable, a little less predictable, then I think maybe he's thinking, well, Partey can play that role of an inverted midfielder. Because if you think about the way in which we set up last night, Partey spent most of the time in midfield. So on paper, it was a 4 at the back, but in reality, we were more playing 3 at the back. We were playing Saliba in the centre, Ben White on the right, and then it was Tomiyasu on the left of that centre. And then out of possession, he does drop in because Tomiyasu was having to drop out wide for Ayew. So I think the idea there works. The challenge is that Partey's played that position like 3 times, 4 times. He played there away at home to Everton last season, which was a dead rubber, away to Nottingham Forest, which we know was a bit of a nightmare, at home to Forest this week, and then against Crystal Palace. And in terms of the team lineup, I think everyone was, obviously you were saying a meltdown. A lot of people had the hump because Gabriel wasn't playing. He's one of my top guys. I love Gabriel, brilliant player. Strong, robust, big, powerful, ball-winning centre half, wins his duels, brilliant. But I can kind of understand if he's not playing Zinchenko to drift and he wants someone to do that drifting in field, it's not going to be Tomiyasu. And so Arteta has basically said, like, I need to find another solution to play the way that we play. And so I think that's the thinking behind it. I agree that I think Partey did all right, but I think that it would need more work. And I think there's also an element of Arteta thinking we actually played really well against Nottingham Forest. And had we not have had that one transition counter last weekend, we'd have beaten them 2-0. And all of us would have been talking about, that was a fairly comfortable game. We dominated possession. It was all right. When you look at the stats, again, we can go into the stats later. When you look at the stats of this game, we basically absolutely bossed them until the red card. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls in the chat, we will come to that. I know you're all absolutely itching to have a pop at the refereeing and VAR. Trust me. We will have our pop, but again, pop your fun things that you would do to David Coots to punish him for his woeful performance, and we will favour that as well. But yeah, so Amanda, on that perspective, so I can kind of see what you're thinking. I'm going into a bit of monologue territory, so I need to probably ask you a question, given that I'm hosting this one tonight. But first half, big chances. It seemed like we were getting a lot of space early on. Martinelli got a chance. How did you see that first half panning out? When you and talk to me up until when you got to half time, general feelings about our performance. Were you comfortable with that first half?
Yes, but I just want to do 2 comments. Just go back to your thing, and I understand what you're saying, and I get that he needs someone to do. When Zinchenko comes in, he'll go back into midfield. But I do feel that Lynn Simpson is right. In the 2 games that Partey has played in right back, Saka and Odegaard don't look quite the same. And I starred one other thing as well that I just wanted to go to, because this is what I think. Sorry, I don't know where it is. One moment.
Was it Melissa?
That was it. CM,
Right.
Ben White links with Saka. So I think we missed something. And Zinchenko does get injured a lot. Does this mean this is going to keep happening? Again, I'm not a professional coach. I've never coached. So I do trust in him. But football's all about opinions and we're allowed them. And I don't like Partey at right back. That's just me. I think he's a waste and I like him in midfield. However, we can move on from that. First half. Oh, it was comfortable-ish, if you get me. Okay. I felt overall absolutely we deserved it. It's second game of the season. It's not going to be 100% clicked in. I do feel it's very tough at the moment, and not going to the referee, but I don't feel like football fans or football players know where they stand at the moment. So where they all had the referees come in pre-season to tell them, how Lee Dixon said it on the radio, which I'm just going to jump to that and then go back, is you forget all that in the heat of the moment. You're just playing football. So I do feel that it's coming together, but slowly. Always a concern at 1-0. First half, I mean, Ayew, if he was going on what he did, he should have been off the pitch. Saka didn't have much room. Eddie worked his socks off. I think Eddie worked his socks off the whole game. If only Eddie could finish 90% of his chances, it'd just be phenomenal. But yeah, no, I was okay. I wasn't like dramatic in my head going, oh my God. I was like, okay, this is okay.
Yeah. Do you know? It's funny. That felt very different to me than last season when we played Palace away. It felt like Palace's tactic last season away. You could clearly tell it was get Anderson to do those long raking diagonals to find either Zaha or Ayew. I think they played Ayew from the start, but it was to try and exploit those wide places in transition. But the difference with this Arsenal team and the Arsenal team then is, I mean, Ben White had a brilliant game. You know, he snuffed out Zaha, but they were still posing some kind of a threat. But I felt like that first half, I sat there thinking, we are in total control. Like in terms of controlling the football, the type of football that Arteta wants to play, he basically wants to play, we control everything and snuff out anything. And I think there was that one sort of chance where Saliba miscontrolled the ball, and I think it was Ayew that ran through, or it was one of the Palace players ran. Yeah, it was Ayew, and then Saliba got back and just his tackle was absolutely nailed on, perfect. What a player we have in William Saliba, by the way. So we just do a minute on how brilliant he is.
I think we should do a minute on how brilliant the defence are. I mean, Ben
Yeah.
White, I mean, I think he gets looked over. I think he's verging on world class. Maybe not in Saliba standards yet, but he just does his job. But Saliba, Jesus. And this is why I do believe we didn't win the league last year, because he got injured.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I mean, he's a fundamental fact. I mean, that guy is our best defender. He's
Yep.
our best. He has got. Laurent Koscielny used to have wonderful recovery pace. He'd make a mistake, but he'd get back. William Saliba's got that, but he's also stronger than Koscielny. I feel like he's probably better in the air, and he's actually better with the ball at his feet.
Yeah.
This guy, the sky's the limit for William Saliba. He's an absolutely fantastic footballer, and the way that we played with just him in the centre and Tomiyasu to the left, and then White at the right, and obviously then Partey tucking in midfield, he was just phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. But that first half was interesting for me, and I do think who said it? Somebody said it in the chat about Nketiah. Oh, Eddie is a enigma of a riddle of a puzzle wrapped up in a maze of confusion and delight, because within 5 minutes we got Eddie slipping his man, getting in front of him. You know, it was almost falling over as he hit that left foot onto the post, and you're thinking to yourself, you know what? That's brilliant for him to even fashion that charge. Just keep it up, mate. And then he gets slipped in 5 minutes. It felt like 5 minutes later, and he just makes the wrong decision, and that's almost a microcosm of the footballer that we've got, and who I'm just not sure how, if he's ever really going to. I don't want to seem harsh. I'm generally not trying to dig him out, but I just don't know that he'll ever properly make it as an Arsenal number one. Well, that's a number one, proper number 9, as in playing every single week. Because if you're an Arsenal centre forward and you're trying to fight for your position, and Arsenal are obviously at the top end of the league, you get 3 chances, you get 2 goals in a game. Eddie gets 3 chances, he might get 1, and I haven't seen anything to suggest something's gonna flip and he'll turn into that. I get 3 chances, I get a hat trick. What's your view?
No, that's what I said. If he could take 90% of his chances, he would be the first name on the team sheet. Unfortunately, he's not. But how long do we go? You know, and the thing is that obviously if Jesus was fit, he would be in the team. It's just such a shame. He's got something. It's just the end product that we need. But I just want to go back to Saliba and that comment I left up there. I left that for a reason, Chris, because I agree with Gunner for Good 10S. Thank you for your comment. Saliba making that slide tackle, as much as I love Gabriel, it would have been a penalty, Chris. And we love Gabriel, but Saliba is just world class. And I know you said that, but I just wanted to come back to that. Yes. So he slipped when he did that incredible, shot, hit the post. I had a feeling it was going to, funny enough. Then didn't he lob the goalkeeper and it went too high? And
flicked it too high. Yeah.
I've always been an advocate of him. And obviously Alan Algar, who is a friend of mine and friend of the show, we've always argued about Eddie, but I'm starting to think that, and I hope he's not listening, that he's probably right about this. I don't know, Chris. I don't know the answer, really. I
Mm.
just want to get Jesus fit. I don't even know how long he's out for. We've not even sort of that's not come out yet. How long he'll be. He'll be itching to get back, won't he?
Yeah, he absolutely will. Like, I think they were making it sound like it could be sort of 3-4 weeks, and I suspect that after the Fulham game, I think we've got an international break after the Fulham game, and I think
Yeah.
it's Man United home. I'd imagine that they're earmarking that. But I'm with you. I think, you know, Nottingham Forest at home is fine playing Eddie Nketiah. Crystal Palace away, it was kind of fine playing Eddie Nketiah, and maybe at Fulham at home this weekend. We'll talk
Yeah.
about Fulham game towards the end of tonight.
Yeah.
It'll be fine playing him, but I feel like the Man United game is when you need your big dogs out, and Gabriel Jesus will be that big dog. So I think hopefully they've earmarked him from that. Declan Rice. I want to
My
talk
man of
about
the
Declan
match.
Rice. Absolutely, I think he was the Premier League man of the match as well.
Oh, okay.
What a performance! I mean, we all know that he's a mustard footballer. He's a Rolls Royce footballer. But yesterday, sitting in that number 6, because and again, with him sitting in 6 and Partey then just drifting in field alongside him, that was where I thought that was where our control came from. I thought that he was imperious. He won the ball when he needed to. He distributed when he needed to. He popped up in all sorts of positions. I saw him popping up at left wing. I saw him popping up left back. When we went down to 10 men, he was nodding balls out from defence. That game yesterday, when it went down to 10 men, was like Declan Rice absolutely in his comfort zone, because that's the sort of thing that he's used to. But let's have a few minutes and pop your things in the chat, and we'll pop them in again. Karen has just put Declan Rice with hearts. I mean, you can't really say anything more than that, can you?
No.
And PJ obviously says Rice is a good signing. PJ, that's the understatement of the century. The guy's amazing, Amanda.
Come on, get some passion. He's not good. He's absolutely awesome. And what I love about him is that he still can't believe he plays for the Arsenal. The biggest smile, the interview post game, the fact that he's like honoured. He feels honoured to play there. He really does, and he's excited about training, and he just the performance in him is just well, I don't want to say world class, but just top rate. And we had his early years coach on, and we were talking to him, and I said to him, "What are we going to get for 105 million?" And he just waxed lyrical about him. And I was so excited from that show onwards. I felt like I learned so much about Declan Rice and how much he's going to bring, and how much he's going to grow with us, Chris, as well. It's obvious he's going to be the next captain for us. If it goes how it goes, I love Erdegaard. He's my favourite player. However, things change, times come, you never know. And oh God, he's just and I agree. I agree, Phil Macker. Rice will have a statue one day. I can just see it. He is that awesome footballer that you want in your team every single game. I don't care who we're playing, you've got to play Declan Rice every game if he's fit.
I think, and that's the other good thing about him. My brother's a West Ham fan, and he messaged me last night. He said, "What do you think about Rice now?" And I said, "Absolute mustard. This guy's brilliant." And the first thing he said to me was, "Yeah, and he's fit all the time." So
oh, please God.
he might get the Arsenal curse, because let's be honest, Jurriën Timber missed about 2 games in about 4 years for Ajax, but and Thomas Partey missed about 6 games in his whole career before he joined Arsenal. But let's hope he doesn't get the Arsenal curse. But
Tarak, Tarak Mahmood said if Declan can bring in goals and assists, he could be the complete midfielder.
I think that's an interesting point. I actually, yes, obviously goals and assists useful that, but that's not we don't actually need him to be that guy that provides loads of goals and assists, because we've got Saka, we've got Martinelli, we've got Trossard, we've got Gabriel Jesus, we've got Eddie Nketiah. We should have Kai Havertz. We're going to come to him in a bit, because I think as fabulous as Declan Rice was, I think we still need to see a little bit more from Kai Havertz early days. But we have so many goals from across our team. We don't need to focus on that. What we need to focus on, and that's what Declan Rice did last night, is when the games get gritty and tough and difficult, and Monday night in front of a difficult crowd and the refereeing being against us, what we need to see players like Declan Rice that are putting their head in, putting their foot in, being there when they're needed in the trenches, And that's the sort of player he is, and he thoroughly deserved that man of match performance. Just a quick one before we move on to the next bit. Again, in fact, should we just get the refereeing stuff over and done with, Amanda, or do you want to save that?
Let's just save it to the end of the game.
All right, we'll go chronologically
It's
then. We'll go
just going to
chronologically then.
go on and on. But I just want to say something about Declan Rice. And this guy pointed it out. What about his contact lenses? Because he obviously, I used to wear them, so I knew what he was trying to do. And I said to Carl, he needs to look. And I heard him say, I need a mirror. It is funny to see that on the football pitch. He either lost it or it was moved and he couldn't see. But he has to wear them. You obviously can't see without them. And I just think all round, Declan Rice is one of our best signings, and I'm with John Rowe, and I did put it up before. I do think he could become our next Tony Adams. That's what I was going to say before, but I stopped myself thinking, am I getting too ahead of myself? But someone said it in the chat room.
Nah, you copied John Rowe. I'm not having that.
Yeah, John said it. That's what I'm saying. But I was
John
thinking
got there
it
first. Don't try and steal his thunder.
I stopped myself and I went,
That's
not well,
low, Amanda. Give John the plaudits.
I love John. Welcome to the show, John.
Lovely to have you on, and lovely to have you joining us, John. So we've gone through Declan Rice man of the match. We've gone through that first half in which I feel like we were all pretty comfortable. I went upstairs. My wife was doing some work. She obviously goes to the other parts of the house when Arsenal are on, and she said, "I haven't heard very much from you. Is everything all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, they haven't scored, but they're doing all right. They're fine. They're controlling this football match." And it always felt like the goal was going to come, and it did come in that second half. Arteta didn't really make any changes, but we only had to wait sort of 7-8 minutes, I think it was, before the free kick on the edge of the box that came up. Eddie, I don't know who was brought down in the box, but outside the box, but Martinelli obviously went to take it. And just as they were lining up, quick free kick, very, very clever, quick thinking. And do you know what? As I said earlier about Eddie Nketiah, and I have my reservations about him, but this is the good that you get from Eddie Nketiah. It was really quick and clever for movement for Eddie to find that space, and then he gets touched by Sam Johnstone. Any Roy Hodgson shapes complaints from you, Amanda, on that Thomas Partey block of the foul?
No, lucky, because let's not talk about referees yet. No, I did say I said no, and then when I saw a replay, I went, "Oh, he's lucky there. We are lucky. It's not a penalty, but they're given." So for me, I don't know what the referee was going to do. I don't know what referee's going to do anymore, to be honest. So I can't call anything. For you, do you think it was?
Yes, well, it was. So there's a few ways to look at this. One way I look at it, and I think, did the goalkeeper get the ball? No. Did he catch Eddie Nketiah? Yes. So in the letters of the law, then yes, that is, and if it's inside the box, it's a penalty because it's a foul. If a player trips another player inside the box, the referee gives a penalty. So I don't think Roy Hodgson had a complaint there. He was complaining about Thomas Partey's supposed block, but there was nothing in that. I think that was a bit nonsense, to be honest with you. The thing that I find weird is, I always find this weird. It's like a player going away from goal. Imagine an instance where a player's going away from, he's inside the box and he's moving away from the goal and he gets tripped inside the box. He's not actually creating a chance. He's not going to have a shot. He's walking away from the box, but he gets tripped. And because of that, you get like the highest percentage chance of scoring because you get a penalty. So I don't really know that there's any answer to it, because you can't exactly say, depends on certain scenarios whether you're going to give a penalty or not. Don't leave your leg out in the box or don't leave your hand out dangling. But I always find it weird because Eddie took that touch and there's no way he was rounding the goalkeeper from there. But as I said in my blog this morning, another way of looking at it is, if the goalkeeper doesn't come out, Eddie gets to that ball and he's in on goal. So I guess that's another way to look at it.
Do you know, it's hard, isn't it? And again, we can all sit here and say, yes, it was a penalty. No, it wasn't a penalty. I agree with Paul Healy. I thought the keeper was silly. He could have just gone to him and not touched him in a way, just pushed him out a bit further. And he didn't. And he went diving in, and I mean, listen, penalty all day long. I didn't even need to see a replay.
No.
I just called it straight away. So normally I'll call it and then I have a look and go, oh, maybe I was a bit wrong there. You know, not at all. But the funny thing is, John Rowe, I bet Amanda went to the loo and we got a penalty. Not as we got it. Then I went to the loo. So I think it's me going to the loo that makes us score. However, is it a penalty for you, Chris?
Yeah, I think it is
Yeah.
because and if the boot's on the other foot and Ramsdale does that, I'm probably saying, well, that was a bit silly, Ramsdale.
Yeah.
So I think most people looked at that and thought it's a penalty. I just find it interesting, like that whole idea about like if you're through on goal and you get tripped, then it's blatant. Or if a player handballs the ball on the line, it's blatant. But there are certain sort of nuances, aren't there? But you can't referee matches based on nuances, as we know, because we were victims of stupid nuances, and this is the moment in which I think we should get to the
Well, let's
unfortunate.
just say Odegaard took a lovely penalty.
Yeah, okay.
We win the game 1-0. However, before all this happened and the final whistle, and it's another thing as well. I'm going to Cole. We might as well add on 15 minutes because we haven't got a clue how long it's going to be. I think they did 7 or 8 in the end, because you just got to accept that we're going to get to 100 minutes at times, and that's that. There's never a game that's ever going to finish at 90 minutes. If you think in 1989 we wouldn't have that 89th minute, it just wouldn't be the end of the game. But anyway, okay. So for those that have listened, um, I went I went to sleep angry and I woke up angry, and I knew I was going on the radio, and I warned everyone what I was going to do. I know I only get like 2 minutes, not even that. And they have the opposing fan on. So when I was on hold in the studio, I said, "Who's on with me?" And they went, "A Crystal Palace fan." I went, "Yeah, great." So we say good morning, and then he went straight to the Crystal Palace fan. Palace fan didn't have much to say. He didn't like say it was undeserved or anything. And then he said something else, and then they came to me. And Chris, from that moment on, I did not stop. I didn't let them get a word in because I didn't want them going back to Palace fan. I had to say what I had to say. I can't remember it word for word. It is, as I said on our YouTube channel, 3 minutes long. And apparently Lee Dixon ended up talking about it later on saying about I was fuming. I've never woken up after a 1-0 win, never in a million years ever, and been that angry. And I tell you why I'm angry, and I know everyone agrees weirdly on this one, everyone does agree, is the fact that it's an injustice. Okay? We may not have won that game going down to 10 men. We may have lost it. And I can't even tell you what I would have said on the radio. I probably would have been like thrown off. But I don't want our football games ruined. And I'm not only talking about Arsenal. Okay. And I said that because apparently, and I haven't seen it, but everyone was talking about the Onana chance for Wolves against United or what happened. People were saying how outrageous it was then. And basically, I just said to them, look, if you're going to time waste, Tomiyasu took 8 seconds because they put an interview with Arteta before I spoke. And they said, Arteta, it was 23 seconds. He says, no, it was 8.6 seconds. He said, next time we'll be taking a stopwatch to games. And it's true because, and I said this on the rant, I asked Carl, how long do we have for throw-ins now? Because Tomiyasu was looking for a player. Now, what happened beforehand with the time wasting with the other guys, I didn't see. It's not because I was being like rose tinted glasses. I just didn't see what they were going on about. They said we time wasted before then. He was the scapegoat. You can't do that. What common sense has to come in is a referee needs to go up to the captain and go, your player's time waste any longer, I'm booking someone. And Erdegaard gets hold of everyone and goes, no more, or whatever it is. Okay. Common sense has gone out the window. However, Tomiyasu gets booked, completely unjust, completely. So now he's in trouble because now we've got a referee who wants to book us and not them. So you get Ayew all over the pitch, fouling Saka on a yellow, but because he's on a yellow, he doesn't get booked because he'll have to send him off. And then Ayew turns Tomiyasu. It looks like a shirt pull, and he goes. Now, I thought straight away it was a shirt pull. Straight away. So I understand why the referee's done it. I've got no argument with that. What my argument is for, Chris, and I said this morning. I said you have VAR for a toenail being for an offside, but yet you're arguing over whether a toenail's offside. But yet VAR should have been looking at that. I know they don't, but they should be looking at that as a sending off and going to the ref. He didn't touch him, because what's that done is brought us down to 10 men and him gone for Fulham. And he kept trying to say to the ref, I haven't touched him. I know they all do that. And it was never a shirt pull. And then what's even worse is Gary Neville glossing over it, going, well, it was a shirt pull, second yellow, and they carried on talking. I was like screaming at the TV last night. And the weirdest thing is, Chris, we've won 1-0. We've won 2-2. And I did say all this on the rant as well. They're ruining the game. It's going to become unwatchable soon. What's going to happen, Chris? How long is a throw-in? What's the new laws on this? Time wasting happened against us every single game last season, bar one team that didn't time waste at the Emirates. It mostly worked in our favour because when they added the time on, sometimes we did score in that extra time. What about when we haven't time wasted and they add on 10 minutes because another team has?
You've run out of steam there, haven't you?
No, I'm just going to give you a chance to speak because I was really wound up. I got it all out and then I felt a bit better. And then a lot of people came to me on Twitter and went, people I don't even know that have never interacted with me, and said, you know, you've spoken for all of us. I don't speak for anyone. I will never ever speak for anybody. I speak for me. And I was so angry that the guy didn't get a word in, said, well, don't worry, Lee Dixon's on soon and he'll be ranting about Gary Neville too. Thank you so much. Goodbye. So they didn't even get a chance to interrupt me, because I asked him a question, said, how long we got for a throw in now? And Arteta's right. We'll have to have a stopwatch. You know, use your common sense, referee. Have a word with the captain and say, your players are time wasting. One's going to go any moment. Okay, one's going in the book. What is wrong with doing that? What is the point of having a captain on the pitch if they don't talk to them? I didn't say that this morning. I didn't get time.
Well, this is your platform, so you're using it. So, yeah. Okay. So my take on it, I do think that we were being cute with our time wasting. I do think Ramsdale had taken a few slightly more longer than usual goal kicks. There was a couple of instances. I think there was once in the first half where Tomiyasu took a bit longer on his throw-in. So I could understand that the referee had started to get the hump. I'm going to use an analogy now, so really bear with me, listeners, and please bear with me.
Bearing with you.
So bear with me. So I work in marketing. And in marketing, we have a certain type of phrase which is called attribution marketing. And basically what it means is that if you are, let's just say, Amanda, you're searching for some jewelry online and you start to Google a particular type of jewelry that you like. The chances are you didn't just imagine that jewelry and Google it. Maybe you saw it on a website, maybe you saw it on a billboard, maybe you've seen it a few times and it's reminded you about that jewelry. And then you've just thought, actually, I really like that jewelry. So you've decided to Google it.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the point in where it says, where did you hear about us? In your head, you say, well, I just Googled it. But actually, it was other instances that happened first. Well, it happened in your journey that got you to Googling it. So the attribution modeling idea is all about, or marketing idea is all about, and we call it last touch attribution. So essentially, the last touch has the most value. So you say, it's because I Googled it, but there's lots of other things. If we now apply this to the first Tomiyasu yellow card, I think he was a victim of being almost the last touch, because there was Ramsdale, there was Tomiyasu himself, Havertz himself had taken a bit too long, and the referee just said, screw this, the next one that does it, I don't care if they take 8 seconds or not. So in some sense, I get it. I don't think it's fair. It's not the right thing to do, but I get it. So that's the first yellow card. I think the thing that's maddening us all, and you've touched on it already, is that the tolerance on what is applicable for a second yellow card, because we all know Andre Ayew had already been booked. So that tolerance bar had been set And that tolerance bar had been set by Ayew when he wrestled Saka down and threw him to the floor. So now we're thinking, as we watch this, right, well, if Ayew can do that, then you've got to do quite a bit before you get sent off. And maybe, do you know what? Even Tomiyasu is thinking that. So Tomiyasu got spun by Ayew. He had a little nibble at him, but nothing that's even worthy of Ayew going down. And Ayew has essentially taken advantage of it, and he's conned the referee. And the referee's fallen for it because A, he's got the hump with Arsenal players, and B, he sees an opportunity, maybe sees an opportunity to level this game up and make it a little bit more interesting for the last 20 minutes or so. And so I think there's that instance on it. But this is where you are spot on. And this is what I've been talking about with a lot of mates on WhatsApps and stuff like that. What needs to happen there is that referee has somebody in his ear, because it's happening over the other side. And the way that Ayew is, when he's spinning away, he's actually spinning away, and Tomiyasu's body is in between the referee and Ayew. So we can't truly see what's happening. So basically he's guessing. If you're guessing and you're going to make a decision to send a play off, that's not a good thing. So if he sticks his yellow card up and his red card up, but someone whispers in his ears, David, I think you might want to have another look at that, because actually your angle wasn't the best. All he's got to do is hear that and say, hold on 2 seconds. He goes over and he has a think. And if he still looks at it and says, that's your second yellow, well, then he's actually a muppet, and because he's clearly hasn't seen anything. But guarantee if he looks at that again on replays. I went for a run this morning, and I was thinking to myself, if I was in Tomiyasu's shoes, I'd go up to him after I'd sent him one and say, I tell you what, I'll give you my number after the game, and then when you watch those replays, you can text me an apology, because you'll see. That's what I would say.
But the thing is, as we said, in that split second, it did look like that. Okay, so help the referee out and allow him to quickly go to the screen. As you said, Chris, he would have looked and gone, okay, rescind the yellow card. You can't book Tomiyasu for Havertz and Ramsdale's time wasting. I get what
100%.
you're saying, and I understand that, but there's no common sense being used. And let me tell you what's going to happen. Well, it's already happened. Where was the consistency? And this is what everyone's talking about. And let me explain something about it. It's very hard to have. Football's all about opinions. There's only certain facts in football. Over the line is a fact. Pulling someone is a fact. The rest are all subjective. Is it a penalty? Me and Carl still argue about Sunday. He's not right. I'm not right. It's just our opinion. Football's all about opinions. It's opinion based. So you cannot have VAR. It's not going to work unless it's factual. So change it. Offside, okay, keep it for that, but not penalties. Listen, back in the 80s, Chris, I want to go back to that football where a ref made a
I was a mere
mistake.
baby in the 80s, so you would have to
Oh, I
remind me.
wasn't. I was a hybrid. I want to see referees make mistakes, and it's swings and roundabouts for all the people that don't really understand what that means. It evens itself up. This isn't. This is going to get worse and worse, and it's beginning. Bad enough we celebrate a goal and then we have to go, oh, hold on, VAR. It's bad enough. I'm honestly telling you now, they're ruining football. They're ruining football. It's not the same anymore. Okay. So it's going to get worse. And I mean, I get what Lee Dixon's saying. I quickly listened this afternoon. He said at the beginning, there's always teething with new, well, they're not laws, are they? But whatever they are, what they've introduced. Well, yeah, but you could cost people relegation, cup runs. You could cost
A
people the
Premier
league.
League title.
Absolutely anything. You know for a fact Rodri gets away with absolutely everything. So by what we saw yesterday, Rodri should be off every game. And he's not going to be. The fouls on Saka, do they not count? Do they not count then? All the fouls on Saka. If you're going to send Tomiyasu off for not even touching the player, and I did say this because a Crystal Palace fan did tweet me this, and it was really nice. He said to me, "You're not one of those biased Arsenal fans, are you?" I said, "There's biased fans in each club. I'm not." Tomiyasu would have pulled that shirt, Chris. I'd have been screaming blue murder at him because he just got booked. Right? It's his fault. He's got sent off when you don't touch a player. And I think that is why And in my whole life of how I am, anything unjust, anything, and I go mental. I literally walked into work and someone said to me, "Oh, well done for last night." I said, "Don't talk to me about last night." He said, "Well, you won." I went, "I'm just not in the mood." I said, "I've been up since 6 a.m. and I've been on the radio and I'm just too angry." We've won a game. We've won 2 in 2, and yet this is how I feel. And it will and I was looking forward to the podcast tonight. I actually wanted a podcast late last night. Lucky I didn't. We'd have had to like put swearing things up or whatever it's called. But it's VAR's never going to work because you're going to have people's opinions, and sometimes the people behind VAR are absolutely useless. And again, I'll say this is not only for Arsenal. Do not change something that is not broken. And yes, I did read that, John Rowe, from you, but that is something I would definitely say. You're going to get it. You're going to get the ball over the line. Listen, you know, when, I don't know if you remember this, when Tottenham scored at United 10, 15 years ago, it was 3/4 of the way
Roy
in the
Carroll,
goal.
wasn't it? The
It was,
goalkeeper,
it
Roy
was, it
Carroll.
wasn't even over the line. It was way past the line.
Yeah. It was
But things happen in life.
horrendous.
You know, you can't. I'd rather go back to it, Chris. Would you? If you could take VAR and go back to 80s, 90s, what would you do?
I'd rather not. But I have an issue with PGMOL, and I would essentially blow it up and reinstate something else. So I would kick a lot of the old boys network out, and I would get real football analysts in to do the role of video assistant referees. I would not have it controlled. I'd have it independently controlled from PGMOL. That would be my kind of solution for it. So I think you get better people that would be more objective.
But it's still opinions, and that they may see. Look, you and I could watch a match like me and Carl do, and we argue over certain things. Everyone's going to have their own opinions of what they think is a penalty. You know, I'm just saying that.
So maybe you take it off for subjective things. So maybe you just focus VAR on over the line, done. Offside, like if you can do certain, if you're basically saying it's from any point in which your body can score a goal, and so therefore we're going to use chipping the ball, and that's how you do it. So maybe that is the solution. I just want to quickly call up something from Karen about appealing the red card, and this is another thing as to why this is nonsensical. They cannot.
No,
it cannot be appealed because it's 2 yellows, and it goes back to the same genre of why they couldn't get VAR, a chap or somebody, a chap or a lady, to be so saying something into the referee's ear, which is you might want to just double check that, because I guarantee you if he double checked it, he would get away. But now they can't double check it, they can't overturn it. Absolute nonsense. We'll come to the Fulham game in a bit, because yes, we've lost Tomiyasu, but hopefully we'll get.
But you know what's interesting? I've noticed everyone's agreed on this, Chris. I haven't, and there are always Arsenal fans that don't agree, but I've not seen one on so many different timelines where people have gone, "Oh no, actually Tomiyasu deserved." No one except one guy that me and this bloke was arguing with all afternoon, who actually said Tomiyasu pushed him in the back, stupid, deserved to get sent off, as an actual Arsenal fan. And I'm like, right, okay, factually he didn't touch him. He may have just glanced slightly, but I'm sorry, not every touch is a yellow card. And I mean, and Arteta has actually, I don't know if anyone's heard this because it was on the radio in front of me this morning. He said, we're going to be playing, we're going to be playing 8v8 soon. I know it's been a bit sarcastic, but you never know.
Yeah. Right. Let's go to let's chill ourselves out. Let's take a breath and let's do some fun things now. So what are we doing with Jim Cook? So you do one and I'll do one, Amanda.
Okay, fine. So do you want to put all the questions up?
Go on then. I'll put the first one up. So John Rowe says, give him a season ticket to watch the Spurs.
Oh, that's won it already. Anyway, the end of the show is now, because that is definitely going to win that. Win the best one. I love that. Okay, next one.
Make him part of the tug of war with competition, so he knows what a tug is. Very good, PW.
Well done, PW.
Very good. I love it. Karen says, put him in the stocks for every Arsenal fan around the world to throw rotten eggs and tomatoes at him for however long it takes. Yes, Karen.
I like that one.
I love it. I love it. What else we got? Lynn says, I would like to face David Coote on TV and ask what he thinks is a red card and then take him to Specsavers to get his eyes tested. There are other places you can buy your glasses from. We do not get paid by Specsavers. I'm just pointing it out at this point.
Correct.
What else we got? Tariq says, I'd make David Coote watch Everton as punishment. Amanda, whilst I'm reading these out, I want you to start thinking about some of you've got your choice of one. So I'll read a couple more.
Okay. I haven't really thought.
Then we'll go into some thoughts
I've
ahead
got
of
one already.
next weekend. Oh, I like it. Right. The ever popular Carl Stark says, I'd give him a season ticket to Spurs. Nice, Carl. Yeah. Fiona says Man United. I mean, personally, maybe he should get to both and he should alternate each week. It would stop him from being a referee, which would be very useful. Earthquake Extremity says, I would also give David Coote the hot chip challenge. What's a hot chip challenge?
That's
Is that just like give them the hot
the chilies? No,
chilies?
obviously hot chilies or something. But I've got mine.
On,
do you want me to tell you?
What's
okay.
Yours?
And I know you're all going to agree with this. Put me in a room with me for 10 minutes and he's not allowed out.
All right. I mean, I get in a virtual room with you for an hour and I'm not allowed out. So 10 minutes.
Yeah, but I like you.
Quite easy. It's quite easy.
What's your one then?
I'll fire him into the sun. Get him into a cannon and fire him into the sun. And then, of course, give him a heat-proof vest because I don't wish death on anyone. I just want him to be feeling very uncomfortable.
But apart from the fact that of all the IU challenges, as I said, that it did look like a shirt pull on Tomiyasu. It's only when we saw it again, it wasn't. He needed proper help. They are hung out to dry, referees, a little bit. And again, it's their opinion. Remember that. I don't believe there's a conspiracy against Arsenal ever, because all clubs think they are against their own teams. But see, Phil agrees with me. Put him in a room with me. And I just feel like he needed some help, but he should have booked IU after about the fourth, maybe fifth challenge. And there was another guy called Lemaire who got away with something as well. So in a room with me and a pencil is a line from Blackadder. Well, the thing is, at the end of the day, I literally would do exactly what you said. Give him Tomiyasu's number, make him watch it, and make him phone him. Yeah. Make him phone the whole of Arsenal training at London Colney. Put him on Zoom and say,
I'm terribly sorry. I was
very
sorry. Bad referee.
Because we're a little bit sort of, not saying blasé, but we've got Fulham Saturday. It's not United, Chelsea. It's not City. It's not Tottenham. But say it was, and we didn't have a left back.
It's a really, really good point. And what you said earlier, titles can be won and lost. There was part of us last season. So we finished on 84 points. I think City got 89 points. If we'd finished on 87 or 88 points, we'd be looking at that Brentford game and we'd be saying, literally, the refereeing cost us a title.
Yeah.
And you cannot have that. You cannot have that at all. We need consistency, approach. We need equal approaches. And if we're not going to get that, we need to start again with those that are enforcing the rules. But I think we need to stop that because let's move on because we're getting back into rage territory, and we don't want to get into rage territory. We've got sort of 7 or 8 minutes left. I want to get through some thoughts ahead of Fulham, and then also we'll get to a few questions if anyone's got any questions.
And also predictions, please, people, because as you know, I've got my book, my podcast book.
You used to be the one.
My book.
Like, I'm not doing predictions. I'm not doing.
No, I know, but you never know. I might get one right. But you know what? Yeah. In 3 months' time, you're going to say, you know that game I told you, and I'll go, I'll have a look. You'll be like, thank God you've got your book.
I prefer things being yesterday's chip paper, so no one remembers. But the internet never forgets, does it? The internet and Amanda's book never forgets.
Do you remember we did all our predictions at the beginning for the whole year, so we can't even deny what we've said. Right.
Yeah, there you go. Right, Fulham. Team, let's have a little think about the team. And are you confident going into it? And will you be there? Because I won't.
Oh, yes, I'll be there. And I am confident. That's probably not a good thing, honestly. I am confident. However, I'm not going for a high scoring match. Me personally, I think it's going to be 2-0. I think it's going to be a little bit of a struggle. But who's going to be left back? Is Zinchenko fit enough to start?
Yeah. So he played 60 minutes in a behind closed doors friendly against Luton on Wednesday last week. And then they've had this whole time. I think the reason he didn't start tonight was because Arteta wanted to keep, because I think he knew Crystal
Right.
Palace would hit a low block and try to hit us on transition. So I think he's almost saw it as similar to the Forest game. I
Yeah.
think Fulham play a little bit more expansive. And so I've got a sneaky suspicion he's going to go back to the back four. Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba,
Hope
and
so.
White. With Ramsdale behind them. I think he's going to go Partey sitting in the 6 and Rice as a left 8, Erdegaard as the right 8, and then he's going to go Saka. Probably, I don't know if he'll go Martinelli. He'll go Martinelli. It won't go Martinelli, but maybe he goes Nketiah. Maybe he goes Havertz. But I think that will be the big question mark for me. Who plays up top? My gut feel is we'll win it, but I think we're still trying to find out who we are in terms of our approach and style. We're very good at controlling possession and ball. We've had 2 teams that have not really had too much of a sniff. And my hope is that Fulham don't get much of a sniff and that we can get a couple of early goals. So I think 2-0 is a good shout, to be fair. I don't think it's going to be a
2-0?
high-scoring game. Yeah.
So me and you, and we'll find out what Cookie wants, and I'll write it in my little book. Everyone seems to be very happy with Saturday. We've got lots of 4-0s, 3-0s, 4-1s, and stuff like that. I don't think it'll be as high scoring as that. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Hopefully, is it 3 o'clock on? It is, isn't it? A
It
3
is
o'clock
a
kickoff.
3 p.m. kickoff. Yes. Do
Are
you
you
want to ask
not able
Tuesday?
to go? What a shame.
No, I've got a friend's 40th birthday that I need to. I'm away out.
Yeah.
I'm very far away from the Emirates, so unfortunately, I've already told them I'm going to be watching on my phone, and nobody can talk to me
Fair
before 3
enough.
o'clock. So I shall be watching it, just not in the
Priorities.
stadium. Should we get some questions as we wrap up the show today?
Yeah, sure. Let me get some up. Let's go.
You
We've got
fire away.
loads. Right. Phil Macker says, how worried are you that our inability to sell our Deadwood might mean the club force Arteta to sell Gabriel to the land of sand to bring some money in? He's not going anywhere, Phil.
Don't worry,
What do you?
Phil. We'll be fine.
We'll
We'll be
be
fine. Gabriel's not going to go anywhere. He signed a new deal recently. Arteta's already said last night it's not going to happen. I think Arteta's somebody that knows he needs to change things around during the season from a squad perspective. So I don't worry. And actually, like I said, I think he's going to play on Saturday. I think he'll play on Saturday, and all of this conversation will go away. In terms of selling the Deadwood, I mean, I just think Arsenal have probably accepted they're going to end up cutting their losses at the moment. They're going to need to get rid of some of the players. I mean, Kieran Tierney didn't even make the bench at the week last night.
He's
So
obviously going.
you've got to think his days are over. They've just got to find a buyer for him. I find it stunning that we can't get money for a Scotland international who can play centre half and left back and who we all love. It's not like we're wanting to kick him out of the club. We all love him. So, but yeah, it is a worry. That bit's a worry, but I don't think the club will force Arteta to sell.
No. Melissa Broadbent. Do we reckon Big Gabby is just getting rested as he did start every game last season?
You answer that one.
Don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't think he'll be sold. I don't think at all. Maybe he's coming back from a slight injury we don't know about and he can't play 90 minutes. Maybe he's just trying, as you said, with Partey inverting. I don't know. I can't answer it. So unless you've got anything to add, young Chris, we'll move on.
I think, like I said, I think he'll play on Saturday, so I don't think this is an issue. I think it's just been a tactical thing for the first few games. Let's take Arteta at his word.
Okay. Good evening, Gentown 1969. Oh, you must be born in my year. Are we doing laying Partey at right back to accommodate Havertz? We haven't really spoken about Havertz. So do you think he's accommodating Havertz in that way?
I think it's more because Zinchenko wasn't available and he always wants somebody to invert rather than accommodating Havertz. What I will say about Havertz, though, and it'd be good to get your view, Amanda, is I'm not willing to completely say this is a busted flush because it's been 2 games or 2 games plus the Community Shield, but we need to see more from him. We can't just have a player that is popping up and popping nice sort of square, sort of 10-yard passes, and he's tidy enough on possession. We need to see for £65 million. You need to see a bit more than that.
I'd give him a chance. I don't think he's done as bad as everyone thinks. That's all I can say. It's 2 games. Talk to me after 10 games. If 10 games it's still not giving us what we need or want, then that's thing. The only thing is it is a shame, isn't it, that we don't see Trossard.
Hmm.
But it's beautiful as well that we've got him on the bench, that he can come on. For all the people that do you remember when they absolutely kicked up a stink because we didn't get Mudryk and we got Trossard? Now everyone's desperate for Trossard to come on. This is what I mean, makes me laugh. Right.
Trossard.
He's just done a podcast with my favourite podcaster, Ivan Tony. I cannot wait to listen. I always listen to Diary of a CEO, and now he's announced. I'm listening to Ricky Lambert at the moment. He used to play for Liverpool and Southampton. It's brilliant. The next one up is Ivan Tony. PJ says Spurs and Chelsea both in for Balogun. Does Arteta have a cheeky Tony deal ready? And would you take him?
In January, yeah, because it'd still take a while to get fit because he can't even train at the moment. But if it means that one of those 2 clubs gets Balogun, no, I do not
No.
want to be strengthening either of those 2 reprehensible football clubs, unless the deal is they pay £100 million for him at the end of the season. We get a buyback for 25 million quid, thereby losing them £75 million. Oh, then I'd sanction it. Oh, and he can't play against us. For either of the games, then absolutely fine. But of course, that had never happened in a billion years.
Carl is convinced Havertz is doing exactly what Arteta has asked him to do. We've got a question about Pepe, so let's ask John Rowe. Do we bring Pepe back to the fold?
You can answer that one.
Yes. Why not? Use him if he's fit and he wants to play. He could give us something different. I don't have an issue.
I actually agree. I've always thought there's a player in there. I mean, you've seen.
Yeah, I always like
there was a
him.
clip. There's been a clip going around on Twitter of some of his finishing, and the guy's a natural born finisher. He's not. He's somebody that could be an impact player potentially, but you can't tell me that having Pepe is better than just because at the moment, if we can't sell him, then what's the point in just binning him off somewhere?
No one's agreeing with us in the chat room, by the way. No one wants to see
We are
Pepe back. But you know what? What's even funnier is if he did come back and he scored and he started to play really well, then everyone would want him back.
Yeah, where are you lot in the chat then, eh? Where are
All
you?
right, for me, I will bring him Pepe back, so someone agrees with us.
Yeah, Oloray's on our side of the fence.
We've done most of the questions, but this is something I'd like to mention. Melissa Broadbent said that team is so close. Just the stuff they did to include Timber pre and post match. Love them. That picture, I've actually tweeted it today, of them holding that shirt up, and Edu atted Jurriën Timber in it, is heartbreaking. And
I haven't seen it.
yeah, I'll send you the picture. It's so lovely, and the team spirit and everything that Arteta has Arteta, Edu, the management, the lot. If you're on LinkedIn, you should go and follow all our coaches. They're all on there. I have great conversations with I can't say Iñaki Cavon. I think he's the goalkeeping coach.
Iñaki
I don't know how you say it, sorry. But they're all on there and it's great. There's lots of people from Arsenal behind the scenes on LinkedIn. So for anyone that is on there, definitely search them out. And I saw Edu's story today and he put that picture up of the team holding the shirt and atting Jurriën and Jurriën. Such a shame. Such a shame. I'm assuming that we're not going to see Jurriën this season, no?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. Whether or not, yeah. I mean, I think it all depends on the type of tear. I'm not a sports scientist or somebody who is in the medical profession, so it'd be difficult for me to say anything. I heard some people saying it's not a rupture, it's a tear, and so that's not as bad. You know, if we can see something from him, that would be amazing. But yeah, I'm don't know.
Oh, it's so sad. But we're going to end on a good note, Chris, because look, we've ranted. Yes. I've ranted enough. I've got over it. You got to get over it. We've got Fulham 3:00 on Saturday. I don't even know what day it is because we don't normally pod on a Tuesday. And Cole keeps asking us this: who is going to win the league? No, I'm not answering. I didn't answer last time.
No comment. I think we might have to
taking the fifth.
I'm not going to say you're going to block Carl because he's an important part of this community, but maybe just lock him in a room where he can't actually message or something.
But he's locked in with me in my house, and
Yeah.
if he asks me that
That's what I
question
mean. Just
again,
take his phone away or something. So
well, and then he'd have to talk to me.
yeah.
So we're not fence sitters, boo fence sitters. We're not. It's the second game in, and we're not interested in talking about who's going to win the league. We're interested in talking about if we're going to beat Fulham. Chris isn't going to be there. Myself, Carl, James will be at the game on Saturday. You boys are back next Monday night. I'm not here because it's bank holiday. None of you can do Sunday. So Monday night, the boys are back, 7:30. Come and join them. And then I'm back after we play United the day later, or Monday night. Christopher, we've gone for 2-0 to the Arsenal. Anything else left to say before I close it?
No, I don't think there is. Let's close this and thank everybody for coming. And yeah, we're happy to see you on Monday.
Oh, and hello to everybody on audio. Have you rated us yet? God, that sounded like a real voiceover voice. Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us. From me and Chris, always Arsenal.